another brain rattling hypothetical for you to think about, right? Your house is on fire. Somehow you are in the central area, flames all around, right? Would you rather or rather not every firefighter who came in to save you have the ability to at least rep 275 and squat, at least 3 plates for reps, 4 plates for a single, right? Would you like that to be the case so that they can, break down the inferno surrounding you that you think may be your final moments to bring you to safety? Or not, right? Now, not everything is a life and death situation like that, but I think a lot of arguments can be at least given a certain guidance one way or the other by taking things to the extreme, right? So I'm not saying everyone has to be a bodybuilding freak. I do not think that, and I don't believe that. But would I rather live in a world where everybody worked out for an hour a day, some way or another, or one where no one did? I'm going to lean towards the former. I always forget which one's the former, which one's the latter. I'm going to lean towards the one where everybody's lifting. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't have to be everybody, but I certainly would not mind, right? And we live in a better world, man. I can't think of like a million different examples that I actually like run into and have problems with or anything, but it's certainly nice if everybody could help, the older lady getting on the plane, pick up her luggage and throw in the overhead bin, right? Things like that. So that's what I want to see, right? If that's the change I want to see in the world, then I want to take my part and at least make it happen, if you know what I'm saying. Oh. Curious, any med students out there, is that dangerous? Is that a dangerous thing for me to do, to hold in that sneeze? It's all I hear about, but I mean, nothing bad's happened yet, and like I don't want to slime up the lens. That'd be freaking nuts. But no more banter. Plan for tonight with chest. Go crazy. Go as crazy as I can, in a good way. In the sense that I don't want to hurt myself. I'm not going to rip my pecs off or wreck my shoulder or anything of the sort, but I do want to really get into it. I think bringing back heavy squats is going to do that for me, at least for quads, because a heavy ass set of squats, the squat bar, and gravity, plus the floor, of course. I guess that makes up the whole system. That's a recipe for, let's just say, an extreme situation, right? Maximum effort, honestly, probably close to, if not the most, just like physically, what would the word be? Physically demanding movement you could do. So the fact that it's like that and it's so serious, it demands a certain amount of respect, right? I would never. I'm not even saying this as like workout motivation, like to say something hype. Like, I would never try to get under upwards of 400, 500 pounds or so under a squat without seriously taking what I'm doing as seriously as I can actually do, or as seriously as I can take it, right? I'm treating it like I'm holding something that's loaded with the safety off, right? This is no time for horseplay. And not a lot of other movements are like that. Dumbbells, unless your form is off, if you ever fail, you just throw them down in front of you. You're good, right? Pull downs, there literally is no risk of getting crushed under the weight. Push downs, like tricep push downs, not that either. You can just rack it and you're done. No other movement. Leg press a little bit too, but leg press is pretty freaky. If I ever did a machine that didn't have safeties, which could stop me from getting crushed in the bottom, I would at least be careful, and at most I'd be careful. At least I'd get some spotters on the side, But there's something about the squat that really brings it. You can get a little bit of extra heart pounding few minutes. It was to the point where when I first started really squatting crazy, I'd get nervous about it. Like, I'd actually kind of be anxious knowing I would have legs the next day, just because of how nuts it was to squat like that, because it was a new thing for me. I hadn't really gotten into it. Now I've kind of, made the adaptations so I'm not so freaked, like on a neurological level, to do crazy heavy squats. But in a way, I wish I could reset my system, because that fear, on just like a mental level, obviously it's not afraid of it, but you know what I'm saying, and that that just like antsiness to do it, I guess you could say it can make or break somebody, right? In the sense that somebody might look at that and say, okay, I don't want to do it, I'm done. Oh, no, not for me. Let's move on to leg extensions or hack squats or something. Or I think it can help pull more out of you as a lifter to bring it. And sometimes it just doesn't happen as much with other movements, at least not without just, serious risk. I need to, this is one thing that I need to do. It's to get, and if one of you guys knows what I'm talking about and could link it to me, I would very much appreciate it. I'm talking like those HDP kind of stackable plastic pallets. I couldn't tell you exactly what they're used for, but the sort of things that you see like the Chinese Olympic lifters doing, or any like Olympic lifting gym where there's no racks but there are weight stands, or just big strong blocks, because I want to set those up under the squat rack and the incline bench just set up, so I can do it on my own without having to worry about having to either try to throw it over my knees, which I really do not ever want to do again. That was probably not the well, at the time it was the best move, but definitely not the best move. Or get smushed, right? It's just not going to happen. So that's one thing I need to do. So if you know what I should be looking for to get those kind of high density stackable blocks like that, I would appreciate it. But yeah, so what I'm trying to get at is the fact that they're for chest and lighter body parts, things where there's no mortal risk. Sometimes it can take a little bit if you really get in the zone and to bring it, so that's where it's got to be almost purely internal, that you've got that drive for whatever set that you're about to do. Because with a squat, I don't care how good or bad you might feel, you're going to stand up straight if you see that in front of you, and you've got that plan for your workout, right? Whereas any other smaller muscle group, it's not as hard to slack off, because the movements themselves don't demand that much, just like prep. So what I'm getting at, or the main point I've been trying to say this whole time, is now that's on me, right? There is nothing essentially forcing me to go crazy, because I can always just drop the weight if I want to and say, I don't want to do this, and that could be the end of it, right? I could just drive home and, sit in the Wendy's parking lot and, play on my phone for 3 hours before going back home, right? There's no rule keeping me from doing that. And of course, that's not what I want to do, but that's neither here nor there. So we'll see. I'll see how I feel, because if it's ever a chest day where I can tell my shoulder might be a little off, or I'm just not really feeling, I don't want to say strong, but just not, like, you can kind of develop a sense where you can say to yourself, I probably shouldn't bench 300 pounds today, or I probably shouldn't do this or that or the other. And sometimes you should listen to that inside voice, because that's what's going to keep you from getting hurt. So I'll see how I feel once I start warming up. But assuming my rotator cuffs get, they're nice and activated, they're warm, my shoulders feel good, my chest is strong, then I could see doing some heavy weight. But if I think I got to peel back a little, stay a little lighter, totally freaking fine by me. I'll just make sure that those sets are highly intense, squeezing, just freaking burning, destruction wise, right? It doesn't matter if you're using the pen or the sword for whichever set you're doing, as long as you go freaking nuts, you'll be good, right? So I think nothing else to discuss. Let's just get this chest day started. This late chest day. If you're watching this when I post it, yeah, sorry about that. It's only 9 o'clock as I'm driving. I'll get back on my normal kind of earlier in the day schedule, starting, once I get an early video tomorrow. But let's get in there. So I was warming up for heavy pressing But for whatever reason, I don't know if it was maybe from doing the squats and like having my arms being, you know, in that full kind of back squat position, but my forearms are a little tender and I could kind of feel it doing heavy pressing. So instead, let's do some controlled burning flies. Now, more of the damage here is going to come from the squeeze rather than like a crazy back of the shoulder stretch. But I don't understand why that doesn't get more love, right? I mean, honestly, sitting here, I know that doing 2 or 3 sets of these, kind of with a bit of a, what would the word be? What's it called if you're just squeezing the weight? Squeezing the weight, static. Like just with a bit of a static hold at the bottom and a real flex, that's going to get me warm, right? So even though I might not feel like heavy pressing for set number 1, after a few of these, I will feel a little better, right? So if you ever think something's a little off, maybe your shoulders are a little just not where they should be, anything, that's a good cue to do some kind of squeezing light movement first to get into it. Because then you're doing 2 things at once. You're warming up and you're getting a good burning working set in. So sometimes if you're ever in a rush, instead of jumping straight to, you know, a 3-plate bench and hurting yourself, start with something like you're squeezing, still a working set, and it's warming you up, right? So if you start with a light enough weight, as long as it's heavy enough to be a good set, it doesn't even require a ton of warm up because the tension isn't such that, you know, you're going to hurt yourself. So you can kind of just, you know, jump straight into it. But let me do this. Whoops. There we go. All right. Yeah. I thought the right side was a little too heavy. Okay. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Okay. Holy crap. One more. There we go. Okay. Holy crap. Me and this pec deck have some acquainting to do. I think we pretty much know each other, but we gotta take it to the next level. So I think my plan here is as follows. So these reps will be very controlled. I'm talking a hard squeeze, but it's a little different because obviously before I was using the, kind of relatively lighter weights with the cable. So this is the stack. So honestly, each rep should be reasonably destructive in a good way. So my aim is to do probably 5 or 6 or so with a good hold and then do a rest pause. So I'm talking, as many, actually I should just aim for as many as I can do with a good hold. And then once I can't really hold it, rack it, lean over, take a second to breathe, and do it again. Really, I don't even have a number in mind, just for as many as I can do. Okay. 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 One more right here. Different style, but I want to bring it just the same way. Okay. 130, 130, perfect. Now I would highly recommend this movement if your gym accommodates for it, right? If it's a Monday and you got a busy ass gym, it might be a little tricky to hog a bench and 2 cables at once. So that's where you might want to train your split or do your split according to you know, your populace, whatever that may be. But not a problem in here. So what I'm getting at is press and fly combined in the best of both ways, right? Decent stretch. So sometimes with a cable fly, not a ton of tension at the bottom because the cables are just pulling your arms apart instead of, you know, back, right? So here, I'm getting a crazy squeeze and a nice deep stretch. And the fact that it's kind of bringing in, I mean, it's fly-ish, but yeah, let's make it happen. Oh, come on. Oh, jeez. Okay. What's going on here? That's not right. Okay. 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 That is way too heavy. Let's drop it to 100 and do another one. That wasn't bad, but not a weight I want to repeat. Okay. Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh, we're getting close to done, I believe.
I think just one more. That set of 365 plus all the traveling, I think it's making you feel a little tender. But no need not to get a pump. That just means do a lighter day, right? I've got absolutely no problem with a lighter controlled squeezing set, as long as you still bring it. But honestly, I think this might be it. So this'll be a two-parter. Start off, take a few steps forward, kind of just some squeezing cable flies, or cable presses, I mean. And I mean, holy shit, man. No need to freaking bench crazy heavy for a pump like this. But either way, presses first, drop the weight by half, and then just finish with some real good squeezing flies. And we can pose down. And this will be a pump to write down, that's for sure. Yeah, this way. All right. Two. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh my goodness. Yeah, 40. Okay, that's good. Okay. Let's get the LED set up. See how we're looking. Holy crap, it's freaking dark. That was good. That was good. A little more chill. A little more freaking chill, but good. And by chill, I just mean, not a zillion pounds, right? So, let's get ready to go home. I have got, well, I don't know, we'll see. Either 100 or 150 grams of carbs worth of white rice to, let's not say slam. Let's be a little more cordial. Let's just say enjoy or indulge for this post-workout meal, because I think right about now, nearing 100 days into this off season, which is just a touch over 3 months, I'm gonna eat a touch more food, but I don't want to overdo it. I'm gonna get to the point where I gotta, diet down too hard, and yeah, this is shit, man. This is a feeling I did not expect to have. I'm getting a little too attached to being lean. I'm not following my own advice. Usually, I'm the guy to say, don't be afraid of an off season, because that's when you're really going to grow and make progress. Dieting down is simply, revealing the progress that you've already made, right? So it's like you're trying to hike up a mountain. Obviously, every so often, you got to set up base camp, chill out, regroup. That's usually what I sort of imagine in my mind to be the dieting phase. It's a break from bulking. It's a little more chill. Maintaining is much easier than gaining, right? But yeah, man, being lean for that long and being that lean, like I was those coming weeks from the Arnold and the Vegas show, man, that left a little bit of an effect on me, to the point where I'm getting a little excited to bring it back. But I can hold off. I am not so attached to leanness that I would sacrifice gains purely for its sake. A lot of people are, right? There's a lot of characters where they, and they're not wrong either. This is not a right or wrong, black or white kind of situation, but more so a gradient area, right? I mean, if you ask someone who has been bulked, big, strong, and has also been lean, diced, peeled, each comes with its own set of, detriments and benefits, right? Pluses and minuses. It's always a give and take, right? Stronger, honestly, just feeling a certain sense of, fullness, not only like muscularly, but in your stomach too. Anytime you want to have a treat, you don't even have to think about it, right? Grab a couple Skittles if you just want them. It's not going to throw you off your game bulk-wise, right? But you're a little softer, right? You don't have that eye candy appeal that being diced does. But then, I mean, you got to watch your food. You got to really count it pretty damn precisely too, because there is no half-assing getting lean. You do it or you don't. You know, that is a very accurate situation of do or do not. There is no try, right? Oh yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, you're trying, all right. You know, so then sure, you look crazy, but you're a little weaker in the gym. You don't have that same strength. Your cardio is way better, right? Every time I go into off season, plus I've got the mic on like directly next to my mouth. It's the classic just huffing and puffing. Whereas when I'm dieted down doing a bunch of extra cardio, I mean, my resting heart rate, if I'm just chilling, it's freaking low. And that's what it should be. So like that is definitely end game. Just stay lean all the time, right? Eventually, you know. So that's the plan. But I kind of want a sweet spot because, like I said in the beginning, you know, it's always a back and forth of extremes. I'm not so attached to lifting crazy weights that I want to just be a strong man where I just want to lift a bunch of weights purely for its own sake, and that's the end of it. If I was, that's what I'd be doing, you know. And I also don't want to be like some of these guys where they just stay absolutely peeled year round, because I've got a sweet tooth and I'm not afraid of getting a little softer for like basically half the year and going back and forth between like really lean and just like, you know, relatively just baseline lean like I am now. Like I wouldn't say I'm lean, but I'm not carrying too much weight, if you know what I'm saying. You know, so I think I'm in a good middle ground because I can still bulk hard and I can enjoy being lean without having it mess with my mind too much, right? Because that's not something we can just completely disregard, right? The you know, the body dysmorphia aspect, I feel like it hasn't gotten brought up a bunch as of late. I haven't heard much body dysmorphia jokes, at least in all of the, you know, like fitness shorts, like TikTok, Instagram Reels kind of stuff. The science-based jokes are really, they've got a grip right now, so I haven't been seeing much in the way of the body dysmorphia stuff. But it happens, man. I mean, bodybuilders in general, it's kind of a freaky freaking thing to do because these guys are going to get diced. They're looking at themselves in like a peak. Literally, they did everything they could for months to look a certain way for a day. Sometimes not even a whole day, just for a few hours. And then that's their new baseline. And they're thinking, man, I don't look like that. Like, no shit. You didn't diet for 4 months straight and then, you know, cut water and do like a little bit of a fast and then fill back up with carbs with like, you know, the thinnest skin you could get your hands on. Right? That's a temporary thing, you know? So it's, I think if you want to continue to make progress and go through different, you know, sometimes drastic changes in your physique in order to do so, then you need a certain, man, it's kind of just, it's like a strength and finesse sort of thing, right? Because if you can't let it go, it's not worth holding on to. So a lot of these guys, I mean, it's a constant battle. No, of course I'm not talking like serious, but just a little back and forth of always second guessing whether or not I should go for it. You know, should I bulk up? Oh, I don't know. I just got my first bicep vein. I can see my abs right now. I don't want to lose that. Or vice versa. Oh, should I start dieting down? Well, I just hit 225 for 8. You know, I don't want to lose that. Or I just whatever. I don't want to deal with counting my calories. It's always just, okay, I want to do something. Some of it's going to be kind of hard. I don't really want to do it. You know, this is, it's a good, not a good, but it's an interesting way to look at the world, right? It's not necessarily that people are making decisions on a day-by-day basis of, I want to do this and I don't want to do this, right? That's how it should be. But it's usually it's a lot of, okay, I want to do this, it's going to be a little trickier, you know, I don't want to do it. You know, it's always it's a battle of, okay, What can I gain? How much is it going to cost? You know, and it's not like it's not a tangible cost, right? Because if it was, and if working out was somehow quantitatively not worth it, nobody would do it, right? So it's more so almost an inflationary effect of what effort is to people. You know, somebody who's going to be a little tougher, be it mentally, just straight physically, or more consistent with themselves, and their baseline effort's a bit higher, they're not going to have a problem adding something new to their routine and working on it, and sometimes feeling like they have to grind for it because they're just not really feeling like it. And you can't just rely on some motivation. It's like you got to tell yourself, look, you said you were going to do this, now it's time to do it, right? So some guys, their threshold for effort is it's low, right? Just look at it as it is. Some guys have a low threshold for effort. So if you are someone who knows that you're up there, who knows you have that ability to bring it, why not? What's stopping you? I know it's not anybody else. Plus, you get that kind of chip on your shoulder effect of knowing that you're doing something that not a lot of people can do. We're not so far from our sort of biological thought processes. Scarcity increases demand, increases value, right? If not everybody can do something, and you can, even better for you. So that's sometimes I think about that if I'm doing something a little harder than normal. I really had to bring it when I was dieting for those 2 shows. Like, I can diet, I can get decently lean without too much trouble, right? Like, you give me 3 months, I'm locked in, no biggie. And some of that is just because I've been eating so much food for so long, I'm sick of food and I don't even want to eat anymore. So it's like I'm kind of on a rebound effect where the dieting down and getting leaner is just easier for a period of time, right? You give me 3 months, easy breezy, and then once I push it a little further, that's when it actually starts to, get a little more tricky, right? Of course, I brought you along every day. I'm like, all right, we're going to hit some chest, I tell you something, there were some sets, especially some of those workouts right before the show, where I want to put on a brave face. Like that last workout before the bodybuilding show in Vegas, the one where I did I think it was a back day in like an Anytime Fitness. I'm sitting there and I'm doing sets of pull downs, and I'm like, okay, whew, that was a good one. Let's do a few more, right? I'm being all just happy to go. Hit stop record, and I go, oh. It was hitting me. I had like 400 milligrams of pre that night, and it was still it still took a few sets to really get into the zone of it, So it's like that for everybody. I mean, if you look at the top dog anywhere, shit, man, they're going through it, right? They've got a threshold too, but the difference is that they push themselves past it, right? And I'm not saying that dieting down for a bodybuilding show is the hardest thing in the freaking world, but it's all a state of relativity, right? If you want to make progress and get better at something and push yourself into new ground, then you got to do something that's relatively uncomfortable for you. Now, the longer you can do that at a continual pace of getting 1% more uncomfortable every time you whatever, after a while, dude, you're going to be the guy who can jump into the ice bath and just sit there with light work, no reaction, right? Whereas somebody who's never done it before, he's going to jump in and jump right out like a freaking cat with walking up to a cucumber, if you know what I'm talking about. So that's more of an older guy kind of reference. So I guess my main point is be the guy who goes for it. That's all I can say. But currently on track to gaining a relatively good amount of size. Relatively good amount of size for this off season, and I'm excited to get lean again. So if we'll see what happens, but yeah. Yeah, this next Arnold should be rather fun. So barring any other circumstance, that's the plan. Now, will I actually make it to the finals? Hard to say.
Hard to say. Because don't forget, I mean, every time we see Urs and, Ramon and Kalzinski and everybody, actually I just said Urs and Kalzinski, whatever, in finals, that's 10 guys. I think sometimes 9 or 8 guys for finals. 50 guys come in for prejudging. So I think I'll definitely be there for prejudging. That's the only thing I can guarantee. I can guarantee I'll be there for prejudging, and I will be bigger and leaner than I was in this previous show. And if I can do that, I'm good. All right, because then I beat my previous self. That's my main concern. That's a freaking ways away. So no need to focus on that. Let's just focus on the day by day. Eat, sleep, train, repeat. Keep it nice and simple. So that's all I got. I'll see you for a back day tomorrow.